Welcome to the Group 1 digital marketing and social media campaign for the 2023 NFL Draft. Let's get underway. So set your watches, mark your calendars, book your travel. The 2023 NFL Draft is coming to Kansas City. And you know how jealous your friends are going to be when they find out that you went. Well, you could be a good friend to take them as well. Why you should come, how will you learn more about it, what's happening, all these great questions we will touch on in the following slides. These answers will be revealed through a social media advertising campaign that will utilize all 4 zones of social media marketing to achieve 4 stated goals, all while being mindful of the opportunities of past drafts with an eye towards achieving greater success in the future in the upcoming drafts. This campaign and these events will not only make Kansas City a wild success for the 2023 draft, but it'll also make Kansas City a premier destination to host of future sporting and entertainment events. Without further ado, let's get underway with the presentation. Next slide, please.
So we have 4 goals surrounding this presentation, the first of which is around in-person attendance. Our goal is to surpass the 600,000 number that was apparent in the 2019 NFL draft, which would make this the most attended draft to date. Additionally, we're going to look to expand upon our viewership. We're going to look to hit 7 million viewers through television and streaming services. This falls just short of the most viewed draft, which occurred during COVID, to account for the people that were at home watching instead of attending, but still is a feasible goal. Our final 2 goals follow social media trends. So the first is we're looking to increase our followers across all active social media accounts by 10%, as well as engagement through likes and comments by 20%. Next slide.
Okay, so we're excited to help Kansas City strategize on how to bring the party of the NFL draft. Nashville set a really high bar, as you can see by that really large crowd in downtown. But Kansas City also knows how to celebrate when it comes to sports. These are both crowds from the World Series celebration and then the Super Bowl celebration. So Kansas City is ready and excited to host this signature event. Next slide, please. So just a few things to keep in mind for a SWOT analysis for Kansas City as a host. Strengths, central location, fantastic. Ample lodging capacity, convenient entertainment options, a track record, as you saw in the previous slide, of hosting major sports events, and a fiercely dedicated NFL fan base. Some weaknesses: it's a smaller metro area, the airport's a little bit outdated, and the identity outside of the region may not be as well known. But opportunities are significant. Kansas City can really put itself on the map, attract return tourists, and really get some incredible national press coverage to elevate the spotlight on Kansas City from coast to coast. Some threats: spring weather is unpredictable in the Midwest. Not hitting the draft attendance would be kind of a bummer. And then safety and visitor experience are paramount. In the case of number 1 and number 3, it's just making sure you have a plan in place to anticipate and respond quickly to minimize impact. Next slide.
Looking at NFL drafts, Nashville was one of the most successful drafts, which was in 2019. They had 600,000 attendees and an overall economic impact of $225 million. And looking at the 2 graphs below, Nashville in-person attendance and economic impact was significantly higher than any other draft. And a key takeaway for why Nashville was so successful: they had live entertainment and events that were not associated with the NFL draft, but were happening during the draft weekend. And this had a positive impact on in-person attendance and overall economic impact. Next slide. I'm looking at social media followers. The NFL draft and the Kansas City Sports Commission have active accounts on Twitter and Instagram. And the Kansas City Sports Commission does have an active Facebook page and has a good amount of followers. And looking at the NFL as a whole, they are active on 6 social media sites and have a lot of followers. Next slide. Looking at NFL social media for the draft, they dominate in Twitter and Instagram. On Twitter and Instagram, they post every few days, and these posts get a lot of likes, comments, and overall engagement. And the NFL draft does have a small following on TikTok. This relationship began in 2019, and the NFL draft's presence on TikTok will definitely create a new and younger audience for the draft. And for expansion on social media, the draft does not maintain a Facebook page or a YouTube channel. And if they do create a Facebook page and a YouTube channel, this will help them spread awareness about the NFL draft itself and also about the draft host city. Next slide.
We will use 3 distinct strategies, each designed to increase specific elements and objectives. The first strategy, a rewards-based multi-platform interaction driver, focuses on social publishing and will increase engagement and sentiment by utilizing tactics such as education, branching, and clustering. The second strategy focuses on social entertainment and consists of 2 different social media contests, the hashtag CatchMyDraft23 engagement driver, and a second UGC contest centered on the iconic NFL Draft logo. The strategy will increase reach and awareness through incentivizing, gamifying, entertaining, and seeding propagating tactics. The final strategy focuses on social publishing and social community by leveraging influencers like Rob Riggle and Pat McAfee. This strategy will increase frequency and recency through seeding, propagating, informing, broadcasting, and collaborating. Next slide.
The target audience for attending the draft are males between the age of 45 and 64. They represent the most avid fan base for the NFL. The majority of this demographic is known to use social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. The social media needs to feature several unique characteristics of Kansas City, including the usual features like barbecue and the recent expansion for the major league sports teams, such as the men's and women's soccer team. Portraying Kansas City as a fun city to visit and a place that embraces sports will serve to entice more attendance in person from those traveling in from other areas. Next slide, please. Our first persona is Social Silva, an out-of-market non-NFL fan. Silva is a 57-year-old man, and all of his kids are out of the house, so he's looking for a reason to travel. To gain the attention of Social Silva and others like him, we will promote various contests that will be held, such as an NFL logo design, and we will promote various venues, barbecue events, and other events that will participate in the draft using spaces for tourists to come and get to know Kansas City as a whole, rather than focusing solely on the NFL draft for those like Silva. Next slide, please.
So the second persona is the local non-NFL fan. This is someone that's aware the draft is taking place, but doesn't have a vested interest in being involved or attending. They primarily like hanging out with family and friends, and they only go out for social events. And given that they aren't an NFL fan, they're a proud Kansas Citian. They enjoy events that bring people from all walks of life to Kansas City. So in an effort to get people like Luna and others to attend, there will be a mass memorandum and personal ads sent out to the locals of Kansas to inform them when and where everything is taking place. So even if they don't want to participate in the draft, they can still go to the other enjoyable events. Next slide, please. The third persona is the traveling NFL Phil. He is a huge fan and does not live in the Kansas City area. He considers himself to be an amateur food connoisseur, and he would like to attend to support his home team. Though, given his limited financial resources and time, he will be one to attend the draft by placing specific events such as group interactions, meet and greets with known influencers, as well as listing the best barbecue places in the city so that he can create memorable in-person events and avoid the fear of missing out. Next slide, please.
One thing that needs to be done for this draft to be a success is revamping the social media platforms. The NFL draft specifically needs to focus on adding a multitude of platforms to compete with the NFL. The draft needs to piggyback off the success of the NFL by using Facebook and YouTube to bring in specific attention to the draft going on in Kansas City. The NFL and the draft as well could focus on getting newer accounts such as TikTok up to speed and gaining a following, as it's one of the more up and coming accounts that both younger and older generations are starting to use. Given that social media sites are a large part in measuring success, strong social media presence is crucial. Next slide, please.
To ensure that we're meeting our objectives, we have KPIs that support each objective. The first objective of maximizing in-person attendance can be measured by counting the number of live event tickets that are purchased to the 3-day draft event. Additionally, we can monitor the number of hotel rooms available in the Kansas City metro area in the months leading up to the event to ensure that we're on target for maximizing our in-person attendance. Another objective is maximizing viewership. We can use our custom hashtag #CatchMyDraft23 and make sure that we're keeping track of the number of uses that is incurring, as well as the uses of the hashtag NFL draft hashtag. Our other two objectives are related to our social media presence. We can count the number of followers on our social media accounts and the number of likes and comments we're receiving on those accounts to ensure we meet our targets of a 10% increase in followers from 2 months start prior to the draft event, as well as a 20% increase in user engagement beginning 2 months prior to the draft event.
To accomplish these goals, we have a $500,000 budget that's going to be split up in different buckets. The first is to pay the influencers like Rob Riggle and Pat McAfee $175,000 for their appearances. The next is our paid digital media, which will go towards sponsored posts on each one of the social media platforms that we're targeting. The next is the asset development, which is going to entail our photo shoots, video shoots, any graphic design, and also cover a social media salary for our social media staff. We have $50,000 set aside for our campaign prizes for our user-generated campaigns, $45,000 to make sure our website is up to spec for the event, and then last but not least is $10,000 for our email marketing to target some of the locals in the area. Next slide, please.
In terms of a marketing schedule, we have a weekly schedule. This is an example of one of the final weeks leading up to the draft. It is a heavy week of posting, as viewers would realistically need to plan about this far in advance to plan a trip to Kansas City for the draft. Each week has a variety of content, including one blog post that draws readers to the draft-specific website, and Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram primarily use image-based posts, and TikTok and YouTube will use video adaptations of that same content. The goal is flexibility of medium so that the Kansas City Sports Commission team doesn't have to create so much content. The intensity is governed by a longer-term schedule. Several months from the draft will be sparser. In the weeks leading up to the draft, posting will intensify and paid media will intensify. And every post has a purpose. Every post utilizes one or more tactics aligned with our strategies for success. The goal is not simply to flood people's feeds with content. They have to be aligned with our strategies that'll help us grow online engagement and in-person attendance. Next slide, please. And here are just a handful of sample social media posts. Saturday, we'll be educating and entertaining with content about how the draft favorite is prepping for the big day, collaborating with Bryce Young, and clustering with Alabama fans and fans of high-profile college athletes generally. Thursday is Rob Riggle collaboration, informing and broadcasting about the draft event, seeding and propagating with fans of Rob Riggle in Kansas City generally, and a call to action to not miss the draft. Friday is mostly entertainment. It is a call to action to see the draft see the draft live in a fun and entertaining way. And this will especially resonate with Kansas City Chiefs fans. Next slide, please.
So the aforementioned contest with respect to NFL draft logos to solicit user-generated content, this is one of the examples of the many tactics we're going to use to ramp up engagement for this draft in particular. You can see that there hasn't been a unique NFL draft logo since 2003. Bringing that in will solicit additional interest. Next slide, please.
In conclusion, our intent is to make the 2023 NFL Draft the most successful yet while putting Kansas City on spotlight. We intend to use a comprehensive marketing plan and budget to achieve in-person attendance exceeding 600,000, 7 million viewers, 10% increase in social media followers, while also upping our user engagement by 20%. Thank you for joining our presentation.